All right. All right. Today I want to talk about the new Red Scare. Dun dun dun. Russia. Yeah, I know. Russia. Everything. Russia. But a slightly different angle than most people are covering. Because recently in the news, there's been some more revelations about a connection or at least communication between members of the Trump campaign during the election and Russian officials. I'm still kind of iffy as to what exactly is going on there. There is a potential. I wouldn't necessarily bet on it, but there's the potential that it could be legitimate. Like, there are various businessmen and people involved that have, legitimate dealings with people in Russia. So, but that's not really what I want to cover. What I wanted to talk about was the reaction of Clinton and her former campaign staffers to this news, and why it concerns me very, very deeply. Now, a few days ago, or a week or so ago, I did a video about Jennifer Palmieri. She was Clinton's former communications director, and did an interview, yada yada. Watch the video, link in the description. And in a interview by Mike.com, she had this to say about these new scandals that are unfolding. I knew at some point this was going to catch up to Trump. Said former Clinton communications director Jennifer Palmieri, "It's painful to watch." Just in case you need reminding, this is Jennifer Palmieri. In addition to that, they also spoke with Clinton's former campaign manager, Robbie Mook, National Press Secretary Jesse Ferguson, Director of Talent Acquisition Development Nathaniel Kolok, K-O-L-O-C, and two other staffers who spoke on the condition of anonymity, described the mood, and they described the mood since Trump's connections to Russia were revealed. And basically the mood was, I told you so. Like, oh, I freaking knew it. It was those damn Russians. I would have put more pictures up here, but there's not much space. So I'm working on that. But anyway, that was the underlying theme of their reactions thus far. It was the Russians. Oh, the Russians were working against Clinton, and that's why she lost. And see, that's the problem I have. Is that it is becoming more and more just painfully clear that they are never going to learn. And it is going to, and if they do not figure it out, or come to their senses, or if them and people like them are not replaced, it will be potentially the downfall of the Democratic Party. And here's why. Since the WikiLeaks emails and documents started to come out from John Podesta and the DNC and everything else, Russia has been basically the only word in some cases that these people will utter in reference to it. It's always never about what's in the emails. It's always, oh, the Russians attacked us. The Russians hacked us. The Russians hacked us. The Russians are trying to swing the election for Trump. In fact, again, I will link to the video because it's fantastic. There's the now widely known video of TYT-Politics Jordan Chariton interviewing now I forget her name, Donna Brazil. And yeah, that's basically it. That's all she said. Oh, it was Russia. Russia hacked us. Russia hacked us. We were the victims of it. And see, and that's what they keep on. Hillary herself blamed Russia in her speech on the 16th, when she, on November 16th. She blamed Russian interference for her defeat. Never once have they swayed from this position, and that's the thing, because honestly, it wasn't Russia. Even if it was, the whole issue of whether or not Russia hacked the DNC and leaked those emails is a moot point. It's unfortunate, but it has no bearing on whether or not she lost the election. What lost her the election was the contents of the leaks, which, by the way, none of them have ever refuted, and have never come out and refuted them. It was what was in the emails. It was her. It was Hillary's background. It was her giving the speeches to Goldman Sachs, telling fucking Wall Street that, they weren't really that they were being unfairly treated in this whole thing, and they weren't the cause of the fucking financial crash and the Great Recession, and that they would be the best people to help regulate the industry to make sure it didn't happen again. Seriously? Goldman Sachs. They would be and they're the ones and that and then she goes on with her she's supposed to have a public every politician should have a public and private position, and the fact what lost Hillary the election was a combination of things. It was just her in general being disliked. I mean, in unfavorable ratings, she's second only to Donald Trump. Period. She has flip-flopped on damn near every issue that she's spoken about. She's... this kind of stuff, it pisses me off. Okay, here's the thing. It wasn't Russia who gave those speeches at Goldman Sachs, those paid speeches. It wasn't Russia who distributed a memo on how to handle Black Lives Matter activists, in which they instructed officials to be sympathetic and to listen to them, but not to make any actual policy promises. So, sympathize, sit there and nod your head like this, with a smile on your face, but don't actually do anything. I mean, good God, what do you think we are, like lawmakers? Representatives? Like, what do you think this is? Some kind of a representative type thing that we're supposed to actually do what these people want? Hell no, man. Tell them to fuck off. They don't need any policies. We don't need to be discussing policy with these people. It wasn't the Russians that did that. It wasn't the Russians that were fully in support of TPP and absolutely fucking silent on the Dakota Access Pipeline while people were being tear gassed and sprayed with freezing water and attacked by dogs. That was them. That was Clinton. That was her campaign. That was the DNC. If they hadn't been doing that in the first place, then it couldn't have been leaked by WikiLeaks or through the Russians or whoever the hell did it. Which, by the way, they still haven't even been able to prove. They say like, it's it's in keeping with the hacks were in keeping with what we've seen from Russian intelligence in the past. It's in keeping with everyone. Okay, it's not like you friggin' exploit a security hole in a software differently if you're in Russia than if you're in China. All right, it's the same freaking thing. It's the same technology. It's the same processes. So they don't even have proof of it, but they're still harping on it, and they will not open their eyes and see that it was their fault. And they need to make changes in the way they think of things, and the way they handle campaigns, and the way they handle their careers, and the way they handle the DNC, if they want to continue to be viable going forward. And this, I know I rambled a bit on this one, but this is a subject that really kind of, it really gets me. Because whenever I hear something like this, I have a horrifying image of a banner that says Trump 2020 on it. And that's my biggest concern. And that's my worry. My worry here is that they'll keep doing shit like this. They'll put that fucking sellout Tom Perez, I forgot to put his picture here because I honestly didn't think to mention him until just then, as DNC chairman, who will keep doing the same strategy that these retards have tried and failed at, and have tried before in the past. They'll run someone like, I don't know, fucking Tim Kaine, who will get his ass handed to him, and we will have, God help us, we will have 8 years of Trump if we last that long. Because at this point, that's what the only conclusion I can come to is that they are hedging they are hoping. Their hope is that, okay, well Trump is going to do so bad and is going to be so hated and such a horrifically shitty president that in 2020 the country will be begging for the good old establishment bullshit again. And don't count on it. If you count on that, if that's their only strategy, they will lose again. Okay, continuing on. Let me get these people off my screen.